We are so happy. The nation is blessed. When we talk of our achievements, Ghana is moving forward with confidence. 50 years without civil war. Even Chambers, Ecola Secretary, every 1957, and the best in that. I'm not penny for about Jamo. Yasuaba, President Saudwa. Already, I'm a Tomo so. Wama Bonibia and Kaye. Hey, Akuakuaja and Washia. Now, so my Ganatia, and Tiasia Wayamuti, Yatasania Yatia. Every young papa coming from our breast. The big six. Come on, hey, hey, come on, come on, come on.
Jubilee Independence Anniversary. Ghana is 50. Hooray! Tuesday, 6th March marks the Golden Jubilee of Ghana's independence. It is being celebrated with the theme Championing African Excellence. Some of the programs lined up for the celebrations are Friday, 2nd March, finals of the schools debate between basic schools from the southern and northern sectors of the country. Topic: The Black Man is capable of managing his own affairs. Venue: Teachers Hall, Accra. Tuesday, 6th March, Anniversary Day. There will be a parade of security services and school children at the Independence Square in Accra. Also, there will be a gymnastics display by school children from all the regions. Similar parades will be held in all regional and district capitals. The parade will be reviewed by His Excellency, President J.A. Kufuor. This will be followed by a state reception. 50 years of independence, championing African excellence.
Your beloved country is free forever.
On the 6th of March 1957, a great nation was born in West Africa, in Africa, called Ghana. We had our independence that brought us freedom and justice. Oh yes, we wish to proclaim Ghana. Ghana is 50. Ghana, congratulations, Ghana. Ghana is 50. Let's all celebrate.
Bele shenisa ni wonya ni wahani no ni eba hoe eho ona fe ni ekome femo nyami suomo wokaye ne kembirone wonya ha wada nyomoshi e ha no fiano ne fe e ha wo mane ne ha wo ekome fe ye woneke nyamo nemi.
Musa nyama bebre aba ya fa tete ne ahundwan ne abobo mu de nanso nyame adom nti yatumi afini nyine mu afiri wasomdwe mu a nyame de yen beduru sampempen so e moma ye ne nye na yen hyire onyankopɔn twede ampon na yen sre na adom sɛ mfinhia aduonu besan ba biwa ɔman bedi mfinhia ɔha no na nyame de yen sinie ɛkyɛnse.
Minam ya twaseye ada kwana mawu alabana we nami nyeto nu gado ma e nu azonyo gala mianko gake minam ya odaka alo mianyo atwaseye ada kwana mawu alabana Ghana for Blackton mawu we nami Mau anabagana na ingo.
Ko da yake akwai bambancin ra'ayi ya kamata mu da sauran addinai duka da kirista da waninsu wannan shekara duk mu haɗa kai mu murnan wannan abin da Allah ya bamu na ni'iman ga mu gode mun zauna lafiya. Allahumma ij'al baladana Ghana baladan aminan mutma'innan wa sayra biladil muslimin wa aminna fi awtanina wa la tabtinna Allahumma rafa maqtaka wa ghadabaka anna.
Talk about a national flag and you talk about sovereignty, identity, authority, patriotism and pride. In Ghana, perhaps one of the periods where Ghanaians really understood the significance of flags was during the 2006 World Cup. The flag represents the soul of the nation. Theodosia Oku is 85 years old and hails from Enum in the Eastern region. She had a primary education at Asante Fijiase and her middle school and teacher training education at Agogo. She was among the first 3 female teachers chosen for an art teacher specialist course at Achimota College in 1942. She later returned to the Agogo Teacher Training College, her alma mater, to teach. In those days, art was called hand and eye. Art seems to run through her family. Her father was an artist and her elder brother, Professor Ernest Esihini, set up the College of Art at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. However, her sister, Mrs. Letitia Obeng, is believed to be the first woman scientist in Ghana. Mr. Enoch Okun, her late husband, was the head of the civil service and secretary to the Nkrumah's cabinet. But what really drove Madame Theodosia to participate in the contest for the national flag?
I just wanted to just take part and see how I would feel, you see. There wasn't a prize for it, and I was not looking for the prize. I just want to take part. Our fathers fought and got this land for us. They lost a lot of people, so they spilled a lot of blood. So the red is for the blood they shed for the country. And then, you know, we have a lot of minerals, and because of that we are called Gold Coast. So if we have minerals, then it should come in. So I had the gold for our minerals. I used the green for the green belt. In this world, if you are not white, you are black. And blacks too, we are always aspiring to come to the top. So I decided that we've been under white for too long. So we use our own color and see what will come.
In 2004, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports honored Madame Theodosia Okun, affectionately called Joan of Arc of Ghana Sports, for being the first woman to become president of the National Sports Association and for holding the chairmanship of the Hockey Association for many years. She was also honored by ECRAG for being a member of the Ghana Olympic Committee and her contribution to the development of sports. And during the 40th anniversary celebration of Ghana's independence, a state honor was conferred on her for designing the national flag of Ghana by the former President, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. Madame Theodosia has 3 children and 9 grandchildren.
And the Ghana Immigration Service. Each security service has 1 female contingent of 3. The school connects.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Ghana Television and my colleagues, Gifty Auntie Joe Lati and Lieutenant Colonel Kuma Dansu, this is Edward Fachi welcoming you all to a live telecast of the activities that will take place here at the Independence Square in Accra. Today, as you know, is Tuesday, the 6th of March 2007. which marks exactly 50 years of Ghana's independence from colonial rule. And when you remember the fact that the 6th of March 1957 also fell on a Tuesday, then it gives today, Tuesday 2007, a special significance. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Independence Square in Accra. For the benefit of those who do not know where the Independence Square is in Accra, it is at the southern end of the Accra Sports Stadium near the VRA building. The Osu Castle is to the east, and while the old passport office lies to the west of the square. Behind the square, of course, is the Atlantic Ocean, which is very calm this morning, supplying all the cool breeze, which is an essential commodity on occasions like this, when the supply of fresh air assumes a special importance. There are literally thousands and thousands of Ghanaians and foreigners from across the globe gathered here at the Independence Square. But now the arrivals of the very important persons begins. The president has just got down and going to take his seat. The other VVIPs are also coming in a convoy of beautiful cars led by police outriders, and they are going to take their places. It looks like a long queue of vehicles bringing onto the Blaster Square the VVIPs who are invited, and they are coming to attend this function.
Well, this is a very, very great occasion. When I arrived here this morning, my impression was that the occasion today is in fact greater than the original version. There are many more people here today. We have a wonderful splash of color all over the place, and the sort of jubilation that people are engaged in, wonderful. So this indeed is the 50th anniversary celebration of Ghana's independence. It is the climax and the beginning of a year-long celebration in this country. And those of us who are lucky to be here are very happy. We are enjoying every bit of it, and the people around us, we fear they smother us, but we'll try to resist. Well, so far so good. The weather is just excellent for the occasion, and I think Gifty is watching me, listening. Gifty, it should be your turn. Over to you.
Thank you, Uncle Joe. It's a wonderful day, I must say. I think I agree with both of you, both Mr. Edward Fachi and yourself. It's such a wonderful display of beautiful colors, red, gold, black and green, and the kente, as you can see on your screen. A VVIP arriving in her beautiful kente. We have almost every Ghanaian here in some form of kente. That one looks like a South African dressing, I must say. The gentleman who just walked in. Well, as I'm here sandwiched by great veterans, we have Francis Sasu also here. I can only learn and listen, but I'm just going to do such a short Q&A, which is something that I love to do. I'll start with you first, Mr. Edward Fachi. Do you remember 50 years ago today? How was it like?
Well, it was fantastic. You know, Ghana had been under colonial rule for over 100 years, and so for the people of Ghana, the leaders, to have struggled and had the patience to fight relentlessly to the end of the struggle to attain independence was something worth celebrating, and especially those who were at the old polo ground on the 5th of March 1957. It was a great occasion to see President Nkrumah, Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Kojobo Otuo, Bedema, and Welbeck, and people like that, all on the days with him as he sounded at long last, the struggle has ended, and now Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. This was fantastic, and all of us really enjoyed every bit of it, and were prepared to help the President, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, to push the country forward.
Well, Uncle Joe, I've heard you talk about it over and over again 50 years ago today, but did you play any role in the independence celebration, 1957?
Well, at the time of independence, I was 30 years old, and I was teaching.
You look good for your age.
Well, I'll be 80 in 4 months' time.
I can't believe it.
You can't. Well, I was 30, I was a teacher, and the role we played was to organize the children for that great celebration. And it all went very well. Ghana was then a more disciplined society than it is today. And programs were kept. Everything was just, tops. And I think it is an occasion that those of us who actually saw it and who were mature enough to understand what was happening will never, never, never forget.
Well, I think we'll have to announce the presence. I think the president of Cote d'Ivoire, Laurent Gbagbo, has just arrived with his delegation. I think, as we all know, just 2 days ago, his government and the rebel forces in Cote d'Ivoire signed the agreement to kickstart the peace process. They've been at each other's throat for some time now, I think 6 years now, and the country that was once referred to as the miracle of Africa is now sitting on toes, as we say. But hopefully this will go well. I think I will now hand over to Francis Asu to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Gifty. I want to take you through memory lane, and since 1830 up to date, those people who have ruled the nation. And then I have on my list first is Captain George McLean, who ruled Ghana from 1830 to 1843. And in 1844 we have Commander Hill. In 1850 we have James Bannerman. 1851 to 1854 we have Major Stephen J. Hill, and then 1873 to 1874 we have Sir Garnet Wolseley. You will remember him for the Sagranti War. From 1876 to 1878 we have Stanford Phelan, and from 1886 to 1895 we have Sir W. Branford Griffith, who ruled the country. From 1898 to 1897 we have Sir W.E. Maxwell, and from 1886 to 1901 we have Sir F.M. Hodgson. So through the memory lane from 1902 to 1904 we have Major Sir M. Worthing, and from 1904 to 1910 we have Sir John Roger. From 1910 to 1912 we have J.J. Thornburn, and then from 1912 to 1919 Sir Hugh Clifford. 1919 to 1927, one man who has made a remarkable impact on the life of Ghanaians was Brigadier General Sir F.G. Guggisberg. From 1927 to 1932 we have Sir A.R. Slater, and from 1932 to 1934 we have Sir T.S.W. Thomas. 1934 to 1941 we have Sir Arnold Hudson, and from 1941 to 1947 we have Sir Alan Barnes. From 1947 to 1949 we have Sir Gerard Creasy, and from 1949 to 1957, when we had independence, we have Sir Charles Noble Adin Clay. That was through the memory lane. I go back to Gifty Auntie.
Well, thank you very much. We were told that exactly 9 a.m. the president will arrive. That's according to my watch, about 4 or 5 minutes from now. The president should arrive very soon. But I'll go back to Mr. Joe Latte, to Mr. Edward Fache, to take us through some of the leaders who are expected to be here today.
Yes, we have quite a tall list. There will be 17 presidents or heads of states coming. President Thabo Mbeki of South Africa, President Abdelaziz Bouteflika of Algeria. In fact, the vehicles coming see to show that perhaps the president may be on the way. But this is South Africa. I've seen South Africa written on the vehicle, so it must be President Thabo Mbeki. And as I said, Algeria, Abdelaziz Bouteflika. For Botswana, President Festus Mogae. For Burkina Faso, we all know Blaise Compaoré. For Cameroon, Paul Biya, President Paul Biya. Arriving right now is the Vice President of Ghana, Aliou Mahama, with his wife Hajia Ramatu. And there's B-Faso. I'm sure it's for the vehicle for President Blaise Compaoré of Burkina Faso, who is arriving. The others will be following: Paul Biya of Cameroon, Pedro Perez of Cape Verde, Ahmad Abdullah Sambi of the Comoros, Muammar al-Gaddafi of Libya, Amadou Toumani Touré of Mali, Olusegun Obasanjo of Nigeria, whom you all know already, Armando Emilio Guebuza of Mozambique. And now we have the Speaker of Parliament arriving with his wife. Beautiful kente cloth with colors similar to what the wife was also wearing. Yeah, we just saw the Deputy Minister for Energy arriving. And the list of vehicles still coming up. President Pohamba of Namibia is expected in to come to the Blaster Square. Paul Kagame, Rwanda. President Jakaya Mrisho. And now President Mbeki arriving. President arriving with his wife. President Thabo Mbeki waving with the left hand. He's being left to his position of the days. And then we also have President Faure Gnassingbé of Togo, who will also be arriving soon. President Blaise Compaoré is the one just moving in suit, Burkina Faso president. And the Minister of Health, Major Kwarish Kashiga, is also moving with him. And more vehicles coming. We have the President of Benin. He is also expected to arrive. And then the Zambian President, Mwana Wasa Yaya Waye, arriving now, President of Benin. Being led towards the days. And President Robert Mugabe is also expected to make an appearance. And then there are 5 government representatives from countries whose head of state were unable to turn up personally. And they are from Angola, China, United Kingdom, and USA. All of them will be seen here. For Angola, we had Roberto Victor de Almeida, who is the Speaker of the National Assembly. For China, the Vice Chairman of the National Committee of Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference will be representing his country. Mr. Park Myung-jae, Minister of Government Administration and Home Affairs, is representing South Korea. And United Kingdom, Prince Edward, who is the Duke of Kent, will be representing the Queen. And from the US will come Alfonso Jackson, who is the Secretary for Housing and Urban Development. Jendai Fraser, Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs. Ronald Chetta, Peace Corps Director. Congressman Donald Payne, who is a Democrat from New Jersey. And a US Congressional Black Caucus delegation. We also have very important personalities such as Reverend Jesse Jackson of the Rainbow Coalition. That is Reverend Jesse Jackson. I just mentioned his name. He is from the Rainbow Coalition. He's a well-known human rights activist and anti-racist campaigner in the United States. He's been fighting for the blacks for several years now, and he hasn't given up yet. We shall also have Honorable H.A. Mongela, President of the Pan-African Parliament, also coming up. And so 17 heads of state, 5 government representatives, and several individuals of note. Back to Gifty.
Well, before I hand over to Uncle Joe, I'd like to say that Mr. Fache, the list we have, I know is 17, but as at Sunday, we're told that indeed 30 leaders have promised to be here. And as you can tell from the pictures we're seeing on the screen, we have more leaders coming. As at now, we are told that 22 officially, but rumors from the grapevine tell us that other leaders have also, in fact, they committed themselves at the very last minute, because perhaps they realized that the Gold Coast, everybody, every single person was coming to the country that was known as Gold Coast, but now Ghana, that is still shining really bright. Although the star is black, it's really sparkling. Right, a sparkling black star, Uncle Joe. Yeah. Right. We have our chiefs from across the country, from Ashanti, from Volta, from the north, Navrongo, Upper East, Upper West, Northern regions, Central, Western. They're all here. They've come from far and near. Though there are regional celebrations, there are some leaders, some chiefs, some traditional leaders who are still here, and we have a lot to be grateful to God for.
Yes, there should be a new Ghanaian, and this is important and imperative. We've got to change, and I believe that looking at the youth that we have at present, they are gaining mastery in the field of the computer. They're gaining mastery in all the scientific things that we have around us. So it looks as if the future is bright in that direction. But we need to change as a people, get rid of some of the attitudes that are not helping the country, and adopt more positive attitudes that will send us to the heights of nationhood. Well, it all began many years back, but the actual battle for independence started around the year 1947 with the arrival in the country of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah at the invitation of the UGCC, the United Gold Coast Convention, which was being chaired more or less by Pa Grant, a very successful timber merchant coming from Nzima land. And from 1947, things began to go very fast. From 1947, 1948, which brought in the riots in Ghana, starting from Accra, resulting from the shooting of unarmed ex-servicemen at the 28th February Road, the Christiansburg, what we call the Christiansburg crossing. And we are now seeing for ourselves the arrival of Minister of Defense there, and then the President of Gabon. That's another VIP moving away to a position of comfort and safety. Off the camera around us here, we have a very thick crowd of happy people who are here to watch the proceedings, and that is a side attraction as far as we are concerned. The commentary position that we occupy this morning is being besieged by these people who will not take no for an answer, and they are all here peeping into the monitor that we have in front of us, and a good representation of police officers, senior officers. The military is also there. In fact, it's a mixture of the security services. We can see them there. These are senior officers of the security services in Ghana. And they've already taken their position. They've been there since the beginning of the morning. Coming up, the stands in the background. We see the motorcade. This looks, oh yes, certainly the green, white and green. That's His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo, special guest of honor on this occasion, is head of state of the Republic of Nigeria, which is the nearest sister country we have, the English-speaking country along the west coast of Africa. And he does not, under any circumstances, give away his native costume for the best of costumes in the world. He's gained sufficient reputation for that. Part of a contingent, and at this stage, with the military showing very clearly in the camera, we go to the military. We have a military representative here, and she is going to tell us all about the military aspect of the parades. She's a lady, and she's already looking straight into the monitor. Now this is the mounted constabulary. The mounted constabulary that you see on the screen is one of the remaining relics of colonialism that we can think about. It's been in existence for many, many years. It was in existence when I was a school child, and it's still in existence. And I said is one of our links with colonialism. And another head of state arrives, Mali, the head of state of Mali. He is here in his flowing robes, and in the background the constabulary, and there's a display. The head of state of Mali, President Amadou Touare, who has already taken his place. The display on motorbike, and it announces or tells ahead of time that the President of the Republic of Ghana, the country, our country, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary, is here. The mounted constabulary is also here, very strong, and the motorcade is coming up. The President is being escorted. The motorcade has given way to the constabulary, but still back to the motorcade, and pretty soon we shall see our President coming out of his limousine and moving off to take his position on the ceremonial days. At this stage, we still the mountain is commanded by Gifted Auntie will give us part of the show.
Well, very soon we'll hand over to the lady who knows all the military terms to actually take over the whole program, the parade. She's been quiet for a while, but she's very much here, and she will educate us when it comes to the parade. But as we've been told by Uncle Joe, there's absolute excitement here as the President arrives on the parade ground. Yes.
To receive His Excellency President J. Kufuor.
He's accompanied by the First Lady of the Republic of Ghana, Mrs. Theresa Kufuor. an exciting moment for him to be the president at this particular time. There is a famous picture, an improvised picture of him and Osadifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, which an artist has interpreted to be positive, from positive action to positive change. That was a beautiful national anthem. The president trying to look very officious, as we say, showing no emotion, but I'm sure it is as exciting for him as it is for all of us.
We shall remain standing
to say a few words before we over finally, but I must say that there is a representation of the clergy. In fact, our religious leaders here. I saw Malvi Wahab Adam, leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission. We also have Reverend Abuaje Mensah, Reverend Digbe, and many others.
I raise all my honor to be faithful and loyal to Ghana, my motherland. I pledge myself to the service of Ghana with all my strength and with all my heart. I promise to hold in high esteem our heritage won for us through the blood and toil of our fathers. I pledge myself in all truth to uphold and defend the good name of Ghana. So help me God.
That was the national pledge, and that was taking you through the memory lane. The last Governor General of Ghana was Lord Listowel. That was from November 12, 1957 to June 30, 1960. And from there, Osadifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah took over as President of the Republic of Ghana. Osadifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was the Prime Minister from June 21st, 1954 to June 30, 1960. After Ghana became a republic on July 1st, 1960, he became the first president from July 1st, 1960 to February 24, 1966 under the Convention People's Party. Now the president has been invited to inspect the parade, and I hand you over to Lieutenant Colonel Ankoma Danso.
Thank you very much, Francis. Presently in your shot is the parade commander, Commodore Tim Appiah.
Good morning, Your Excellency. Ghana anniversary parade formed up by security services,
inviting the
school
president
children, and second cycle schools cadet corps. There are 56 officers, 2,070 men and women drawn from the Ghana Army, Ghana Navy, Ghana Air Force, Ghana Police Service, Ghana Prison Service, Ghana National Fire Service, Ghana Customs Excise and Preventive Service, Ghana Immigration Service, 6 contingents of teachers and school children from Accra Metro Schools, 4 contingents of second cycle schools cadet corps, ably supported by the Ghana Armed Forces Mass Band, the police band, with escorts pipes and drums in attendance on parade, ready for your inspection. Commodore Timothy Samuel Apele Apia reporting, Your Excellency.
This morning to celebrate our great 50-year anniversary, and there in your shot is the president,
the parade commander,
who has been invited to inspect the parade.
We also have the Minister of Defense, Imperial.
The parade commander sitting on a horse, Yevu. Yevu is about 12 years old. It was purchased from Nigeria. The parade commander, Naval Commodore Tim Apia, was enlisted into the Ghana Armed Forces as a naval cadet in 1979. In the first vehicle, you have the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, who is the President of Ghana, and he is being flanked by the Chief of the Defense Staff, Lieutenant General J.B. Dankwa, and the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kwatin Achampong. There in your shot is the President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, His Excellency J.A. Kufuor, flanked by his ceremonial ADCs, the Chief of the Defense Staff, and the Inspector General of Police. And in the second vehicle, we have the Minister for Defense, Honorable Dr. Kwame Adukufuor, with the Minister of Sports and Science, Papa Usu Ankuma, and the Minister of Interior, Mr. Kandapa. They are presently with the Navy. Now the President is inspecting the Air Force contingent. And there in your shot is a mass band being conducted by the Director of Bands, Lieutenant Colonel Ebonyi. Now inspecting the police contingent. That is the Air Force contingent presently in your shot, being inspected by the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. 50 years in the life of a country is no mean achievement. It's now the turn of the Navy contingent, and there in the foreground is one of the Army contingents. And in your shot is the parade second in command on his horse, Showboy. He is now with the Airborne Battalion. That is the Airborne Para Battalion located in Tamale in the northern region. And there in the foreground are the children who presently will give us a very beautiful gymnastic display after the inspection by the president. Commodore Tim Appiah is currently the military secretary of the Ghana Armed Forces. It is now the turn of the prisons, the prison service. And now it is the turn of the fire service contingent, which is being inspected by the president. You have 2 fire contingents on parade this morning. You know, as I said earlier, we are more than 1,000, about 1,000 and 100 security personnel on parade. And now it is the turn of some of the cadets from the second circle institutions. The president is slowly but surely and majestically getting towards the perpetual flame where he will light it to signify the everlasting light flame that was set ablaze on the day of our independence, and after which we have never looked back. That is another contingent of the Cadet Corps. It's another contingent of the Naval Cadet Corps. That is a contingent of the Army Cadet Corps. That is immigration. And there in your shot is Mr. Kofi Annan and his wife, Nan. And there we have some of the presidents. I can see President Olusegun Obasanjo seriously flipping through his notes. He will give a speech this morning. The president is slowly getting towards where he will light the perpetual flame, that is the Cadet Corps. And there we have our traditional rulers splendidly clad in all manner and sorts of kente cloth. Isn't it beautiful? It's so regal. And there you have the Okankwe sub-metro schools. The president is almost there. There in the foreground are the APCs and the artillery pieces and what have you. Presently inspecting some of the military material that the security services possess. The president and the commander-in-chief is now turning around to get to where the unknown soldier is to light the perpetual flame, and he's being flanked by his ceremonial ADCs in the persons of the Chief of the Defense Staff, Lieutenant General J.B. Dankwa, and the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kwatin Achampong. And they are being escorted by the parade commander, Commodore Tim Appiah. He is finally there at the cenotaph.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests.
Commodore Tim Appiah brings the parade to attention and get ready for the president to light the perpetual flame. The president is about to light the flame. And there it goes, the lighting of the perpetual flame, a symbol of the spirit of independence, reminds us of our responsibility to keep the spirit alive. This morning, as the flame is lit, the black star glows with the flame, and it is hoped that with the rekindle of the flame of nationalism to light the path that marches us towards economic and political development. The lighting of the flame by Ghana is not just for Ghanaians, but for the whole of Africa, that we have come of age. We have come of age. 50 years in the life of a country, it's a lot. It's a very long time. Obviously, we are very happy, as you can tell from the foreground. The head of state and the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. short is the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. The President has returned to the days because he is awaiting our traditional rulers to also come and pay their homage before we start proceedings.
Taxi of the parade over. May I have your permission to carry on with the rest of the parade, Your Excellency? Aye, Your Excellency.
Your Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, I wish to inform you that the exchange of greetings between the chiefs and His Excellency the President, the delegation is.
We wish to inform you that the exchange of greetings between the chiefs and His Excellency the President, that is Odenehu Japan Abebio II, who is the President of the National House of Chiefs and the Omanshin of Seshi Traditional Area. They are paying homage to the President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, Odenehu Japan Abebio II, President of the National House of Chiefs, and the Omanshin of Seshi Traditional Area has just finished paying his homage. He is followed by Yunyo Rana Yamiatuka II from the northern region. That is Yunyo Rana Yamiatuka II from the northern region. Now we have Nana Nkwa Kudom II, Omaihine of Seshi also, who is the Vice President, and followed by Togbi Gabusu the Sis is the Fiaga Ogbi traditional area and president of that is Ayidana Asubaire the fourth is the Kolongo Naba, and that is Puro Pui Chiri the northern Na. Otumfo Amwa Sasraku the third, Chifu Himahine and Vice President of the Central Regional House of Chiefs. Apuro Pobi Shuri Nandomna. Okatechie Ajimai Kudom the fourth, we have in all 11 chiefs who are paying homage this morning to the head of state. La Manche ni tete pobichuru. And there you have a Queen Mother. All representing all the regions and the tribes of Ghana, paying homage to the head of state and the President of the Republic of Ghana. The President has finished shaking the hands of our traditional rulers, and he will go up and then proceedings will begin. At this juncture, I would like to hand you over to Mr. Fache to continue.
Thank you very much. Greetings from the chiefs has ended, and we'll be proceeding to the next item on the agenda. Whatever is done in this country, our chiefs are not left out. They are part and parcel of every big function. In fact, before independence, we had our own methods of traditional rule, and even now it has been given a big place. Nothing is done without the participation of our chiefs. And now some dancing. The national Adwa dancer by the name Nana Sewa. He looks quite young. Yeah. An expert when it comes to Adwa dancing. You know, very energetic, full of life, and very fast on her feet. Look at the legs. Rich cultural display of dancing, and Ghanaian tradition really has a lot to tell the world. And every movement she makes has a special significance. If you watch the wrist, you see how she twists it, and she knows exactly the message she's putting across to the dancing, know exactly what she is saying to them.
We've now moved to the presidential days. The code that some of the young ones coming up can learn. I believe some of the older ones even learned a lot because we have such a rich history. You know, to join this anniversary that we've been told the roles that, for example, Isikadu played, the role Anumabu played, the role Denchura played. You know, some of these places we never knew that they really played any major role. I think now Wulomeng is heading towards the podium where he will say, now Wulomeng is heading towards the podium where he will say the traditional prayers. He's been around for as long as I can remember. Every set match, he's the one who comes to pour the libation, because this is their land, literally. This is the Garland, Accra. Ni Lomo Tete. He's Ni Lomo Tete the 13th. He's going to board.
Amen. Ado. Amen. Ado. Amen. Hey, Samaganyame. Yao. Name Kaname. Yao. None I see me. Yao. None I see you for. Yao. Name I do for. Yao. Now I do for. Yao. Wabalama. Yao. Bama. Yao. Here am I to Dampon. Kwame, as I say, Fia. Yao. In China, Bosobo Mesa. Yao. Nae. Yao. Nae. Yao. Nae. Yao. Neura. Yao. Chiche. Yao. King be king. Yao. I'm out of Yamlao. Yao. Ha Kakao. Yao. Odo. Yao. Obiamugio. Yao. O Petatro. Yao. I'm in for. Yao. Niame na woman na. Yao. Chutaku Sakanga Mera Prasia. Metumatu Alemesaki. Yao. Adma Yenyo. Yao. Osatoku Osananya. Yao. Obetu Asio. Yao. Akedo. Yao. Pedalenta. Yao. Tata Kripo. Yao. Lawe Talawe. Yao. Mama to mama. Yao. Afi Okupo. Yao. Opia Kasia. Yao. Auncho. Yao. Tancho. Yao. Atancho ni Shiajo. Nemla kwe. Yao. Newo yafu eba na ugbo. Yao. Keble ku yaka, ble ku ahweshi. Yao. Chena ye chon bi awura. Yao. Chon ha awura. Yao. Chon ta ko won pa gbe yin. Yao. Pa ni mi ngbala ba se yin. Yao. Ngburu agbo nu chake. Yao. Chata banjo foto machino ka ble ku akun. Yao. Bi enu odomone Ghana na afi ni menu. Yao. Wo yin yan ni che ni je ko fuo. Yao. E baba mode. Wala ani nale. Yao. Wala Yao. Be alright. Yao. All right. Yao. 20 years. Yao. The full affair. Yao. Na. Yao. Eko be fe no wa yo. Ye fu anye. Yao. Nye shanye na. Yao. Igana hi eche. Yao. Eh, sakmo ka to. Bi ta ye. Ofito sa. Oda omo ye. Na waja tumi wa ye guri. Yao. Wale ni ba no ka na wa ye. Yao. Báwo nkumba ebamode nígbà ìṣẹ́bíẹ́ wọ́n wọ́n dá jọ́n ọjọ́ kónkù fọ́ọ̀dì mo fún ìbá tánú ètò tó mọ̀ mi ebi ẹ̀wùrà ẹ̀wùrà ká kọ́ sínú kúrà rẹ̀ wọ́n láyé ẹ̀wùrà ni wọ́n náà dáná tọ́kàlẹ̀ tó àpò ọ̀nà bẹ́ẹ̀ mi àṣẹ́mi náà rọ̀ mu méjì ìṣọ́ ní buwàṣí epo fàákù wọ́n lá nínà ni. Patu abi chonye. Yao. Mchenya kadobutu apla. Yao. Ta shua danshula. Yao. Ta ja danshula. Yao. Ta molanga. Yao. Beka ko jimi e. Yao. Fa mo jo Ghana. Yao. Jo Ghana kan kwa. Yao. Kan kwa chale. Yao. Ko shebla. Yao. Ko fejana ko. Yao. O tuga majana ajo. Yao. O ko jafi o mi. Yao. Na ma fe ma. Yao. Onugba ke ma cheme fe ko me. Yao. Baby, I don't go from Jamie. Yeah, I feel come. Yeah, you want you when I go. Yeah, if I don't want to share, you need any baga. Yeah, to I go on me. Yeah, first, I can't not bring me. Yeah, never go to Kumbabi. Yeah, I didn't any banana, my grandma. Yeah, no, my yard.
Praise is due to Allah the Almighty, whose worth cannot be described by speakers, whose bounties cannot be counted by calculators, the master architect of the universe. Thou hast said, La in shakartum la azidannakum. If ye are grateful, I will add more favors unto you. The sons and daughters of this great nation, Ghana, including our distinguished friends from abroad, today, at the 50th year of independence, acknowledge with thanks thy countless favors bestowed on us. The rich natural resources, mineral and agricultural wealth, imposing national colors and the coat of arms, the rich human resource, the prudent and dynamic leaders whom you have used to transform this nation to such an appreciable status, all are fresh in our memories. Despite the belligerent activities around us and across the continent, Ghana ever remained the most peaceful state and even honored her illustrious sons to champion the cause of peace and human dignity across the globe. We are very grateful. It is our humble supplication that your divine blessings abound this Jubilee year and in the subsequent decades for this nation to realize rapid socio-economic growth, a nation strong in unity with very stable democratic governance and very God-loving community. With the gift of mind, strength of arm and joint efforts, help us to work assiduously to make this nation a haven of peace and stability and a beacon of hope for the benefit of present and future generations. We make this prayer in your holy name. Allahumma jal baladana Ghana baladan aminan mutma'innan warfa maktaka wa gadabaka anha wa an ummatiha wafta laha futuha mubina warzuqha wa li ummatiha rizqan wasi'a wa amwalan kathiran min haythu la naqtasib wa malikha rikab al-jababira was-salafin wal-umara wal-awliya min aswadin wal-ahmarin ملكا حقيقيا في الله بالله لله وإلى الله يا من إليه تصير الأمور ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم آمين.
Yeah. Sheikh Shaributu.
Almighty and everlasting God, we thank you, Father, for a day like this where the whole nation with our international friends have gathered together to give you praise and honor and glory for a successful Golden Jubilee celebration captioned Championing African Excellence. As a nation, we accept the fact that you are our light, you are our salvation, our stronghold, and our provider. Therefore, eternal Lord, help us at this period of our existence to work hard with openness and transparency to create a truly independent and a self-reliant nation. We are asking for your blessings where independency will mean to us a nation that can provide what a citizenry will eat, wear, and have access to the basic necessities of life. And we finally request you, Lord, to pour your grace and favor for all our international friends who have traveled all over the world to celebrate this memorable occasion with us. Grant them, O Lord, to enjoy a successful and a peaceful stay in the nation, and as they travel back home, grant them your traveling mercies. Father of all spirits, we pray thee, long live Africa, long live Ghana, long live our president, Mr. John Ajekunkofo. And now, may the blessings of God Almighty, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit be upon all of you today, and remain with you now and forevermore. Amen. Amen.
Thank you. That's all for you now. Your Excellency, now with the parade.
Raider! Red! Sing! Red will retire. Red! center. Quick! March!
Your Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, as the contingents retire, I'll hand you over to my co-master of ceremonies, Mr. Charles Kofi Amusa, Assistant Director, Ghana Education Service Accra, to continue with the gymnastics.
Great with advance.
Overexcitement from everybody.
Your Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, during this ceremony, the highest compliment is paid to the colors by the escorts. The national anthem will be played, and all are please requested to remain seated at this time.
Mesdames et messieurs,
Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have the conducted warrant officers with their swords drawn, marching to take over the colors before handing them over to the ensigns.
They are in the presence of Chief Petty Officer Class 1 Abu Dhabi, Warrant Officer Ameibo, Chief Petty Officer Class 1 Anaro Francis, and Warrant Officer Asare Mensa. And closely marking them is the Parade Regimental Sergeant Major, who is in the person of the Chief Petty Officer Simpi Daniel. Those are the Regimental Sergeant Majors who are receiving the colors from the senior non-commissioned officers. And then they will in turn hand over the colors to the ensigns. And there you have them. Those saluting the colors are the ensigns or the officers who are returning their swords in order to receive the colors and carry them aloft. The regimental sergeant majors are handing over the colors to the ensigns. And they are Lieutenant Commander Abel Yankee, Lieutenant Commander Kweku Atta is hoisting the national colors. Lieutenant Frank Owusu Ansa Ohini is carrying the 1st Battalion Regimental colors. Lieutenant Commander Kwabna Kisiedu Atiemu will be carrying the Air Force colors.
there was a call from the Big Six for the British to set up a commission of inquiry to look into the disturbances and to apportion blame. The result was the Watson Commission, which came and sat in this country, and during the sitting, the Big Six took advantage of the sittings to make themselves very popular. At the end of each sitting, I remember this very clearly, the Big Six were carried shoulder high from the Supreme Court right up to the offices of the Evening News. And that gave them a lot of tremendous fillip. They became extremely popular and known. Well, that was the Watson Commission made a report, reproduced a report. And that report, interestingly, stated that the constitutional position of the Gold Coast at that time was a little more advanced than the colonial government was aware. They even said that the Gold Coast was ripe for self-government. And after that report had been accepted, it was debated, and from then on, changes began to take place in the constitution of this country. There was Governor Alan Burns, followed by Noble Arden Clark. Crazy, who had to leave the country, I think in about 6 weeks, just about 6 weeks after he arrived, his arrival, he had to leave the country. And Arden Clark cooperated very well with Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and his group and introduced a constitution that gave tremendous power to the National Assembly, which later became Parliament. It has been a real struggle, but it has been rewarding. And today, as we sit here watching the screens of our television sets, we cannot but remember that the struggle for independence in Ghana has taken many years. A lot of things have happened. People have sacrificed to make it possible for this country to be independent today. And it is not a struggle that can be put to the effort of a single person. It has been a relay, a succession of agitators, constitutional lawyers, chiefs and people, all of them combining to make it possible for the independence of Ghana on the 6th of March, 1957. Remember, the 6th of March was the date on which the bond of
1854. all I can say is I am just so touched. I'm so moved. Those of you who've been watching the parade from morning at 8 o'clock, the GTV, you've seen the national dance, you've seen the cultural dances, you've seen the chiefs, you saw the president go around and greet the troops, you saw the troops.
And they are followed by Ayawasu Sub-Metro Schools. Ayawasu Sub-Metro Schools is followed by the Naval Cadet Corps. And they are followed by the Okakwe Sub-Metro Schools. There you have Madame Constance Ankra, a lieutenant from the Red Cross. She is almost 80 years old, the one who was in white. And following closely by is the military material. These are the armor personnel carriers from Reki Regiment. The armored personnel carrier from the Reki Regiment. I would like to hand you over to Mr. Edward Fachi and then to come back later.
I'd like to say that earlier on, when Francis was giving us the history, we saw a shot of Professor Evans Atta Mills, flag bearer of the NDC in short. With him was Madam Mrs. Mary Grant and other officials from the NDC. They are here represented, fully represented. We have some of the members of parliament from the minority NDC side also here. We've been seeing them on and off camera every now and then.
There in your shot are the APCs or the armored personnel carriers from Recruit, and that is those are some of our rattles. That is a recovery. The Ghana Armed Forces purchased some rattles from South Africa recently. Those are the 8x8 piranhas from Reki Regiment. And that is from 66 Artillery Regiments, the 102 howitzers. These are guns. And there in the foreground are
we have fly past by the Ghana Air Force.
Presently in your shot are the 8x8 and the 6x6 from Reki Regiment. These are the multiple rocket launchers. The 40-barrel rocket multiple launcher system.
If you took all the colonies of the British whatever he had learned into practice, he started talking about the independence of Ghana being linked with other African countries. So he was a man who had a vision. He thought everything was possible, and that is why he said, we want to prove to the world that the black man, when given the chance, will be able to do what the white man has done. He said, we'll be able to prove to the world that black as we are prepared and ready to show to the world that what others can do, we can do. And later in life, he was to add another very important sentence, that we preferred independence with danger to servitude in tranquility. I remember these expressions very much. He did not want any servitude, continuous servitude in tranquility, but rather independence with danger, because it's only by learning, by making mistakes, that we learn.
Vehicles, it has caused pipes and drums. The pipes and drums are the sound of
made his foreign policy clear when he said concerning Africa, the independence of Ghana was meaningless until it is linked with the total liberation of Africa. And as we turn 50, what is our theme for the celebration? Championing African excellence. And at this point, we have our president also as the chairman of the African Union, and championing the cause of the African.
And so Kwame Nkrumah did not rest there. In December and April 1958, Kwame Nkrumah convened the existing independent African states. And then in December, he held an All-African People's Conference in Accra. And that was termed the first Pan-African Conference to be held on African soil. And he took the first step towards African unification by signing an agreement with Secretary of Guinea to unite Ghana and Guinea. In 1961, Kwame Nkrumah extended the Ghana-Guinea Union to include Mali under President Modibo Keïta. And in 1963, Kwame Nkrumah again organized a conference of the 32 independent African states in Addis Ababa, and that is where the organization of the African Unity, which is now the African Union, was formed. At this conference, the purpose was for the unity, freedom, and prosperity of the people of Africa. Mr. Jolate, can you comment on what we are having on the screen at the moment?
Well, these are what they call the Obrafo, the throat cutters. These are people in the distant past, the very, very distant past, when the demands of fetishism and a few things like that sometimes made it necessary for human sacrifices to be performed, and these were the chaps who traditionally did that very nasty job. it's no longer in vogue, but it's part of history.
All to stand for the national salute when it's played.
Oh, the center. Quick.
May we all rise for the national salute.
Hey, national salute. Present. Us. Your Excellency, President John Kufuor, the President of Republic of Ghana. Your Excellency, the Vice President, Your Excellency, the Speaker, my lords, temporal, my lords, spiritual, Your Excellency, my colleagues and brothers from all parts of Africa who are here to celebrate with our brothers and sisters in Ghana. Your Excellencies, friends and loved ones from outside Africa who are here to celebrate with all of us in Africa. Mr. President, permit me to say that on behalf of all of us in Africa, I bring you and the good people of Ghana greetings from all nooks and corners of Africa on this very glorious occasion. Permit me also to congratulate and commend the armed forces of Ghana and the school children for a most impressive parade. Perhaps the simplest yet one of the most profound verses in the Holy Bible, which encapsulates the whole essence of the Christian faith, is Matthew chapter 6, verse 33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things shall be added unto you. That great African visionary that resilient descendant of our rich and profound and proud African ancestry, that irrepressible early believer in Africa's inexorable rendezvous with our glorious destiny, that quintessential Pan-Africanist, the Ghanaian patriot, Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, gave this sacred exhortation a practical, challenging, secular twist. Seek ye first the political kingdom, and all other things shall be added unto you. As I, on behalf of my brothers and sisters, and on behalf of the government and people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, felicitate with my brother President John Kufuor and the good people of the Republic of Ghana on this historic 50th independence anniversary. I am constrained to revisit the twin challenge and promise in Kwame Nkrumah's exhortation in the reality of today's fast globalizing world and the African situation. This country, Ghana, blazed the trail not only from the perspective of driving the cause of independence for African nations from colonial domination, but also by imbuing in the African, at home and in the diaspora, a renewed sense of pride, self-worth, and self-determination. Ghana's independence on March 6, 1957, and Kwame Nkrumah's steadfast commitment had by the mid-1960s heralded independence for over 80% of the countries of Africa. This was a period of great expectations and exciting possibilities for the continent. However, until the relatively recent emergence of the more proactive African Union, all the promise of stability, security, and prosperity which political independence held for us had all but fizzled out. The AU, with the support of our development partners, have made sustained and concerted efforts at driving our continent's political and economic regeneration. We got independence, national anthems, and national flags without any concrete reality. Political independence did not come with economic independence, peace, security, stability, and well-being. In Western Nigeria, for instance, the slogan at independence was "Life More Abundant." And in Nigeria generally, regular official cars of British make were considered not dignifying enough for political officials and were dumped for big and long Pontiacs and automobiles. So much for what some of our leaders understand of life more abundance. The bad trend replicated across the continent clearly indicated that we did not even begin to understand what development meant. We had won political independence only to demonstrate our abysmal unpreparedness for the challenges of post-independence restructuring, reconstruction, reorientation, and development. In addition, in West Africa, those institutions of integration, such as the common currency a common West African Court of Appeal, a common airline, and a common military training were broken up. The same thing happened in East Africa. We took down the fence without bothering to understand why it was erected in the first place. There's no doubt that our biggest bane have been enduring stability. We substituted military rule for colonially handed down democracy and socialism for capitalism without a productive capital base. At the height of the Cold War, we became pawns and we toyed with ideologies that we have understood. At the end, we lost out. But the fallout in terms of conflicts, violence, poverty, underdevelopment remains with us. The rejuvenated African Union has, through the instrumentality of the African peer review mechanism, established a structured platform for ensuring democratic good governance across the continent. Let me at this juncture congratulate Ghana as the first country to be peer-reviewed with useful lessons for Ghana and the rest of us. This is key to any meaningful permanent reversal of our undignified negative antecedents. What is required is a proper definition and clear understanding of the notion of development, which takes special cognizance of Africa's historical antecedents, realities, and specificities. We must not be held hostage by history, otherwise we will not make history. There is no miracle in development, but there is need for a near oracle for development to happen. In West Africa sub-region, we have made some strides in the process of recapturing the advantages of regional economic integration through the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. In an effort to further deepen the regional integration process, we recently inaugurated the Co-Prosperity Partnership Alliance Zones initiative, which seeks to drive economic development through functional integration by harnessing the synergy of socio-economic potentials of Benin, Ghana, Nigeria, and Togo in furtherance of the aims and objectives of ECOWAS. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is noteworthy that 50 years after Ghana blazed the trail of political emancipation for our continent, the President of the Republic of Ghana, my brother and compatriot, is today the chairman of the African Union. Providence has once again bestowed on this country of destiny the onerous responsibility of being in the vanguard of Africa's reawakening. Political independence is a precondition for other things to happen. Osagifo got it right, spot on. But other variables of development and consideration must of necessity follow. My dear Ghanaian brothers and sisters, as we celebrate this day, I wish to challenge you to committedly partner with the national leader of this country in the quest to rekindle the spirit of the glorious blessings Black Star across the African skies once again. Your Nigerian brothers and sisters and the rest of your brothers and sisters in Africa are willing and waiting to march hand in hand with you as we embrace Africa's glorious dawn together. May Almighty God continue to bless the Republic of Ghana. May God continue to bless Africa. May God continue to bless each and every one of us. Thank you very much.
That was addressed by His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo.
Your Excellency President Olusegun Obasanjo, the special guest of honor, Your Majesty the King of Lesotho, Your Excellency's colleague presidents from Africa, Your Royal Highness the Duke of Kent, representing Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth of Great Britain, Your Excellency Mr. Kofi Annan, immediate past Secretary General of the United Nations, Your Excellency Dr. Alpha Konare, President of the Commission of the African Union, Excellencies, leaders of delegations present here, speakers and leaders from sister parliaments in Africa, friends of Ghana, our respected traditional rulers, my compatriots, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Today is the high point of the year-long celebration of Ghana's 50th independence anniversary, and I ask you to join us to thank the Almighty God for having brought us this far. On behalf of Ghana and on my own behalf, I also wish to thank all of you, colleague presidents from around the continent of Africa, and you, the foreign dignitaries from outside Africa, and all your delegations for coming to join us to celebrate our big day. Ghana appreciates it that so many of you have been able to make the time to accept our invitation. I am sure you will agree with me that this is a celebration not only for Ghana, but also for the whole of Africa. For March 6, 1957, changed the outlook of our continent and its status and role in the world forever. The African on the continent, who for centuries had been violated and subjugated through the slave trade and colonialism, on that fateful day succeeded in breaking asunder the chains of bondage. Today, therefore, is as much Ghana's celebration as it is for the rest of Africa. Today, I must pay homage to the first president of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and his colleagues of the United Gold Coast Convention, who in 1947 launched the last phase of the process towards independence. These colleagues were J.B. Dankwa, who gave us the name Ghana, Pa Grant, the financier of the group, Obechebi Lamte, Edward Akufo-Addo, William Oforiatta, and Akua Adjei, all of them of blessed memory. Let me also pay homage to the first government of our nationals under Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. I must mention some of his stalwarts: K. Bedema, Kojo Botio, Kofi Bako, Krobodisai, Imoro Igala, and others of blessed memory. Of that pioneering group, I acknowledge two men who are still alive and are here with us, KSP Jantua and Amwawia. I also must pay homage to the members of the then opposition, Professor K.A. Buzia, S.D. Dombo, S.G. Antor, Victor Owusu, Joe Apia, and others of blessed memory, and R.R. Amponsa and C.K. Tadam, who are alive and with us here. They also struggled to establish the culture of multi-party democracy in our country. But above all, let us give thanks and praise for the many Ghanaians throughout the years who have worked anonymously and often without reward to make our nation what it is today. For as our former Prime Minister, Dr. K. Buzia, put it, and I quote him, "It is by the devoted day-to-day service of many ordinary and unnoticed citizens that a nation achieves greatness." Today is also a fitting occasion to pay a special tribute to our public servants down the years. They partner the politicians and form the other essential half in running government. For the most part, anonymously and quietly, they have seen Ghana through good times and bad times in these past 50 years. In the early years, they quickly rose to meet the challenge and filled the vacuum left by the departing European administrators, and with admirable competence. We must also show appreciation to our development partners who have stood by us, cheered us on, and given us a helping hand these 50 years. They have given us technical assistance. We have benefited from their debt forgiveness, and they have often extended to us concessionary lines of credit. They have proved to be true friends indeed. 50 years ago, this nation was born to a very different world. The Cold War was raging, and everything appeared to be measured in terms of where one's sympathies lay. In many ways, the nation itself was quite different from what it is today. There were less than 5 million Ghanaians at independence. Today, there are about 22 million of us. The land area had 8.5 million hectares of pristine tropical forests. Today, only about 1 million hectares of forest cover is left. 50 years ago, as the first African nation south of the Sahara to gain independence, Ghana under Kwame Nkrumah made the fight for independence of other African countries its prime occupation. Nkrumah articulated this passion in these immortal words, which I quote: "The independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked with the total liberation of Africa." 6th of March indeed proved to be the critical turning point in the struggle for independence in Africa that had been ongoing for decades earlier. In the memorable words of the then Prime Minister of Great Britain, Harold Macmillan, a wind of change started blowing across Africa. The event opened the floodgates of liberation against colonialism and apartheid. And within the next 10 years, most African countries had achieved independence. But the struggle was not to end until the collapse of apartheid in the early 1990s. Ghana thus became the Mecca for many freedom fighters and potential leaders who came here for inspiration and material support. Today, all of Africa has political independence. That period of our birth as nations on our continent was exhilarating and a time of great hope. But there was no blueprint for the more difficult business of governance, economic management, and the building of a nation out of the diverse peoples that had been forced within artificial boundaries imposed by the colonialists for their own convenience. The new enthusiastic but mostly inexperienced leaders had barely any guide in the art of government. And for a long time, among both the political leaders and the people, it seemed that getting independence was the end in itself. This naivety resonated around the African continent. If the 60s were the time for political independence, the 70s and 80s on our continent were years in which much of Africa was thrown into the wilderness of political instability, tribal conflicts, and economic mismanagement. The continent seemed to relapse into the exploitative grips of neocolonialism, and the early hopes sparked by independence seemed to fade. It was not until the 1990s, with the end of the Cold War, that another gust of wind of change blew across the continent. That brought in its wake a new breed of political leaders and a fresh commitment to constitutionality and the African Renaissance. The continent was energized anew, and eventually a new continental organization, the African Union, was formed as successor to the OAU. The African Union is anchored on good governance, respect for human rights, sound economic management as the way forward for the development of the continent. It also shares the vision of an eventual union government for the whole continent. Ghana subscribes to these tenets and mechanisms set up by the African Union. In particular, Ghana renews its pledge to work with the rest of the continent in pursuit of the new economic partnership for Africa's development, and accepts the responsibility that this places on member states. This is why she has submitted to the African peer review mechanism. 50 years after our independence, fate has conspired to bring the chairmanship of the African Union to Ghana and confer the happy coincidence when she is celebrating this jubilee. Ghana renews her pledge to work with the rest of the continent to develop Africa and its peoples, to gain a respectable and dignified place in the mainstream of the emerging global village. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this stage, I make a plea to the youth of Ghana and Africa. Your continent and its nations need your energy, your dynamism, your creativity, and above all, your dreams for the development of its component states. We have no illusions about the size of the problems that we face. How can we, when there are daily stories of young Africans undertaking perilous journeys across the Sahara Desert, sometimes on foot and in flimsy boats on raging oceans in a bid to get to Europe and elsewhere? How can we, when old and new diseases like malaria and HIV/AIDS still plague Africa, and reap a grim harvest on our youth? But there is no doubt that Africa and many of its nations are making progress. So I urge you, our young people, to resolve to stay at home, using your energies and your enthusiasm to serve Africa. You will find that what we achieve together will be far more fulfilling and satisfying than anything you can do elsewhere in the world. Indeed, this continent now provides a quicker avenue to success financially and emotionally than anywhere else. The future of this continent is yours. It is your heritage, and you must stay and be part of building the well-governed, economically vibrant nations which we all aspire to. I pay homage to the many of our young people who bring honor and joy to Africa's image in their daily endeavors. There are many of them who are excelling in the fields of information technology, finance, sports, fashion, music and dance, and we celebrate their successes. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate 50 years of independence and sovereignty, it is worthwhile to remind ourselves that freedom is a living flame to be constantly fueled, and not a monument to be saluted and revered occasionally. Ghana's freedom, indeed Africa's freedom, must be an eternal flame to be continually fueled by all our governments and peoples, because this freedom defines our humanity. Ghana's historic date, 6 March 1957, will remain integral with the destiny of our peoples for as long as the story of liberation is told, and it must therefore always be celebrated. But even as we celebrate, we must not become complacent, but keep on striving towards achieving excellence. Thus, as we reach one milestone, we must aim higher. As we achieve one goal, political independence, economic prosperity, a literate population, a longer and healthier lifespan, peace and self-respect on our continent, we must raise our sights even higher. Our destiny is with the most advanced in the human community, and we must pursue it. Let us therefore approach the next 50 years with clarity of vision and sustained rational steps, and never forgetting our very difficult past. On this, I wish you all a happy anniversary and joyous celebration. Long live Ghana and long live Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.